Ambassador Nzibo, you said that you are a commissioner of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission of Kenya. How independent is that institution really? Or is it an institution where the chief executive, the president, can just summon you and say, you know what, this is how I want the results to be?
Shaka, we are very independent. We were not appointed by the president. We applied for our jobs. It was very vigorous in terms of selecting over 400 and plus people who applied for those jobs. We had to fulfill various integrity requirements, including being tax compliant, having good certificates of conduct, getting letters from the anti-corruption, getting letters from the credit bureau, and of course the ordinary folks were allowed to write in and complain about you. We were interviewed before a television audience. We were interviewed before a parliamentary select committee.
Very transparent.
Very transparent process, unlike before.
You are answerable to the people.
We are answerable to the people.
Not State House.
We are answerable to the people. We have a one term of 6 years, and the laws now have been very tightened. If I goof or anybody in the commission goofs, it's 1 million shillings fine, 3-year term jail, and losing public jobs for the next decade or so. And of course, we have our careers and our future to protect.
How different is this particular institution, the manner in which, of course, you have explained to us the way it was put together from the previous electoral commissions of Kenya, for example?
The previous commissions, people were selected by political parties. At one point, the president appointed the commissioners. They owe allegiance to the president. We don't owe allegiance to any political party. And of course, our terms are fixed. The law has been changed, as I said.
What about the funding?
The funding, we still have to provide a budget, negotiate with Treasury, go before a parliamentary select committee. Of course, last time we had a problem with the type of monies we were asking, because the constitution now changed the political system in Kenya. For the first time, we will be electing 6 positions. There may be a runoff of presidential election. So the system has changed. We want to go also biometric in terms of voter registration. Remember, during the last elections, over 1.2 million dead voters were able to rise from the grave and vote. In other words, you could vote more than once. So we want to tighten the system. We want to introduce transparency, accountability. We want to have good elections.
I know that you have traveled across the continent. You have also attended so many conferences and meetings, workshops, and what have you. How do you compare your electoral commission with several other electoral commissions on the continent? Do you think that you belong on the same page with a lot of these electoral commissions on the continent, whose members largely are appointed by the chief executive, and sometimes the chief executive is even going to participate in that particular election?
Shaka, our commission is new. In fact, I came in with the chairman as part of the old interim commission that was appointed in 2009. And only the chair and I survived through that vigorous selection. We've gone around the world picking from the best practices, including this country, to try and improve. There are quite a number of reforms, political reforms going on, quite a number of reforms in the legislature. And we've gone around picking best practices from Ghana, South Africa, and we compare ourselves to South Africa and Ghana. But we are yet to reach there.
I see.
But we hope and believe we can deliver a free, credible election come March 2003.
You've been around observing elections.
Yes.
What can you tell us that you have learned so far that you hope to go back with in Kenya and use it to your advantage?
One is that election is not a war. It's a celebration of democracy. I was very touched in terms of, first of all, the professionalism in conducting these elections. The spirit of volunteering, professionals, lawyers, students, and everybody mobilizing for their party, believing in their party philosophy and ideology. You know, we have 53 parties in Kenya. In fact, we had 47 before the reforms.
Right.
But these parties are fragmented on ethnic lines, Parties are like vehicles. You miss one, you jump on another one as long as you get back to parliament. You know, people don't believe in party ideology. In fact, one of the things that we suffer from is party hopping. We were trying to prevent that, but unfortunately, parliament in its own wisdom was selfish and made it easy. So people can party hop from one party to another 2-3 months before elections. Here, we saw both Republicans and Democrats campaigning up to the last day.
Right.
There were placards outside polling stations, 40 feet. We don't allow campaigning on the last day. The debates were very hot, but when you went to the polling stations, it was very peaceful. It was like a picnic.
It was like a picnic.
And people exercised their rights without intimidation. I didn't see a single policeman manning our polling stations. We in Kenya are going to recruit over 90,000 policemen to make sure that security is maintained.
I see. Thank you. Let's go to the lifeline of the show, which are the telephone callers. Good evening, Okolo from Nigeria. You're most welcome to Straight Talk Africa.
Good evening, Mr. Shaka. Good evening, the ambassadors, our guests.
Terrific. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Shaka. Mr. Shaka, first of all, I have to congratulate the President-elect, Barack Obama, and to also thank the Governor Rooney for accepting defeat. Mr. Shaka, sir, my question to the Commissioner, Kenya Independent, sir, you have seen what happened today in America. President Obama won the election, and the Republican candidate failed. And he came publicly and congratulated Obama. So why is it so difficult that we don't have such things in Africa? I've never seen a country in Africa where the loser will come publicly and congratulate the winner. And the last question there is the insecurity in Africa, as you have rightly mentioned, security. I'm just pleading to the President-elect of the United States of America to see what he can do before he leaves this office. To say that at least, if it's not easy to eradicate insecurity in Africa, at least let us at a minimal level before he leaves office. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Okolo, but I will disappoint you. I think it also happens, in fact, in some countries in Africa. For example, Rupia Banda, a former president of Zambia, he did lose an election when he was in office. He conceded a defeat and congratulated Michael Sata, a man from the opposition, who is now president, of course, of Zambia. I also remember that in Senegal recently, it also happened. Abdoulaye Wade congratulated Macky Sall on winning the election, and of course, 10 years earlier, Abdul Diouf, the tallest president perhaps in the world at the time, had also gracefully conceded defeat and in fact called then Abdul Wade and congratulated him. So I think some people are beginning to, going to pick up. Let's go to Godwin in South Sudan. Good evening, Godwin. Oh, I'm afraid that we've lost Godwin. I'm sorry, let me come to the studio. Of course, the question was meant for you, really, from Okolo in Nigeria. What about the fact that there is a lot of humility that you see here? There is a lot of political tolerance. He raised the issue, frankly, of when you are competing in politics here, it is like competing in sports. It is your rival, your competitor, not your enemy. Not your enemy that if you defeat him, you have to deploy APCs. You have to deploy tanks because he is trying to assert his constitutional rights. For example, Obama said that he had spoken with Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, his running mate, congratulating them on what he called hard-fought campaign, and vowed to sit down with Governor Romney to discuss the way forward. How do you feel about that?
Well, Shaka, we hope what happened in Kenya and Zimbabwe, the so-called governments of national unity, will be the end of the story for Africa. That leaders would concede to defeat, that we shall develop very strong institutions, because what is important here is strong institutions. The integrity of the system the integrity of the people behind the elections, the strength of the laws, and also the fact that you can stand up on your own values, we can argue, and it will continue as a normal day. In fact, when we went to visit the Assistant Secretary for African Affairs,
you have 30 seconds.
A few days ago, he said America will be strong as yesterday, as the day before yesterday, to be strong tomorrow and the other because of the institutions. And this is what we need to build. The cost of mistrust in Africa is very high, and that is where we go wrong.
Very interesting. You're tuned into Straight Talk Africa.